Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Game Over Greggy show. My name is Colin. This is Nick. This is Tim. We're not slamming any tables. We're not spending. There's no time to waste. There's no. Oh dear. Who's coughing? Someone's. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Was it Kevin? Kevin, are you coughing?
No.
Do you have Are you able to throw your cough? It sounded like it was 3 miles away.
Kevin the cough thrower, Coelho.
It did sound like it was really quite distant.
Beautifully done.
All right, so where's Greg? That's the first question. This is the 90th episode of this show. Greg isn't here. I host it when Greg's not here on occasion. He's. Are we allowed to say? I guess we
I don't know if we're allowed.
We're
to
not
say
allowed to say it.
It won't be clear where he is at the.
Well,
No,
hold on.
not by
We're
the time
saying
this
it. As we're recording this, we're saying it tomorrow, but I wouldn't fuck with it.
Okay,
Yeah, let's not
Greg's
mess with it.
somewhere
Safe.
playing something, and he'll be back for the next episode.
Yeah.
You'll be excited to
Psyched,
see
right?
it. It's all gonna be great.
So let me see. I don't. When Greg talks, I usually don't listen. So let me see if I can figure out exactly
The cadence of
what
he
he says. So Game Over Greggy show is a show. It's a video and a podcast. This is kind of what he goes into, right?
He goes into
and what he says is that you can go on YouTube and watch the clips for free, but if you want it early, then you go to patreon.com/kindoffunny,
Right,
and give us $5 for the audio, $10 a month for the video if you want it early. Otherwise, it's available for free the next
And what's
week.
really cool is for just $1 a month, you get the exclusive episode. So there's an extra episode of the show that most people probably don't even know exists.
Yep, that's true. That's a good point. Is that basically everything? I mean, he goes into this whole thing. He's quite into it. He says the same thing over and over again. It's kind of how I introduced Colin and Greg live. So I'm not judging him.
No, you have to build a cadence every once in a while, and I respect that.
That's why Gamescast is such a goddamn disaster. I don't got a cadence.
You do have a cadence.
I have like two
you
sentences.
Have your thing.
I have
this is the first ever 90th episode of the Game Over Greggy show.
Yeah, something like that.
Gamescast, whatever the hell the show's
And
called.
after that, it's an utter train wreck.
Yeah, but that's our
things.
standard content,
Yeah.
right? Like we always said, with what was the parlance you used? The garbage truck on fire, slowly rolling down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right for us.
Like,
no, Colin, I think you nailed it. I think you nailed all the stuff.
I did the best I could. I mean,
did.
I don't. The way I think about the garbage truck specifically, which is Colin and Greg live, is that it's a garbage truck that's on fire. And it's moving down the street as slowly as a truck can possibly move. So I don't want you to envision something going like 10 miles an hour or anything. It is just barely moving.
It's slow enough to ghost ride.
Right. Yeah,
That
no,
whip,
it's slow
you know
enough
what I
to.
mean?
I mean,
You could just ghost
you
ride.
can ghost ride and make a
That's kinda
sandwich and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Say hello to your mom, make a few phone calls, go to work, come back, and it's literally just the next house down.
Why do I imagine this at your mom's house in Long Island? You're just chilling. It's not even. It's a flat street too. It's amazing. It's just idling.
Yeah, it's just idling. Yeah, it's just basically idling down the street.
One day,
no one's driving.
It's going.
All right, so this is a topical show, and so we have 4 topics today, even though there are only 3 of us. Nick, you'll go twice, and therefore I think it's most appropriate that you go first.
All right,
with your first topic.
I'll kick it off. First topic comes from the community. Remember, if you have topics for me, we've kind of fallen off this a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go back to it. If you have topics for the show, tweet at Nick
No,
underscore.
that's not what we're doing.
What we're not doing that.
We're doing something where you go to kindoffunny.com/forums.
Oh, right. I apologize.
And there should be a thread there where it's Game Over Greggy show topic suggestions.
There you go.
And if there's not, Lindsay, I love you. I love you to death. Can you make that topic?
Yeah, we got to start.
people get
We
in
do
there?
have these lovely
We're
kind of
pushing
funny
people there?
forums that we always forget to interact with. If you have comments, questions, anything about the show, please go there. If you have topics for the show, go to the kindoffunny.com/forums, look for that and submit it. Like our good friend Sean Pitts
Yes.
at Sean Twisters, Twisties,
Twisters.
Twistondos.
Twistandos.
That's the Spanish version.
Sean Twistandos.
Sean Twistandos.
Yeah.
Who says, a simple topic, what gives you goosebumps?
I get goosebumps from so many things.
So many different things.
I think
Not sexual, though.
the best
Or
answer,
sexual.
Sexual.
You
I
can be
mean,
sexual
there's some
if you
goosebumps
want.
there, but musical cues
Yeah.
are the things that get me the most. Like pretty much any 80s movie score, any 90s theme song. Specifically, like when they made the movie version, so it was always like a rock version of the songs. It's not not 90s, but Transformers comes to mind. Transformers, hearing the theme song doesn't do anything for me. Hearing the freaking Transformers the movie theme song, that's fucking badass and like
That's when it goes like this. Spider-Man.
That is the Transformers theme song.
Radioactive Spider-Man.
Yeah. But hearing that type of shit, it's like, it gets me, brings me right back. Getting those goosebumps everywhere.
It's true.
The Goosebumps theme song comes to mind.
You were really big into Goosebumps.
was.
What did we see the other day? We actually went and saw a movie together for the first time.
All right, the first time like recently.
Forever. It's been a while.
What was that? It was a Marvel movie.
Well, not Ant-Man.
Really?
No.
It wasn't Ant-Man?
No.
What did I see before Ant-Man? Yeah. What was this, guys? Come on.
Damn it.
Let's think back. There's been so many movies coming out.
Well, either way, you saw the Goosebumps trailer and you were like, no, no. And I'm like, huh? I did not realize that your generation, like that specific age group, caught Goosebumps, and that was a big thing for you.
I mean, Goosebumps and Animorphs were the jammy jams.
What the fuck's an Animorph?
You know it's the book, the book covers where it's like you see the transformation of a person into an animal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't they do that in the popular series called Twilight?
Yeah. That is actually.
Oh my god, I fucking hate you.
Twilight's a fan fiction
Jesus.
of Animorphs, actually.
Yeah.
One of the
Blew
main
up.
characters in the Animorphs TV show on Nickelodeon is Iceman in the X-Men movies.
Really?
Sean Ashmore.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was always into it. Tobias was my favorite character. He could only turn into a hawk. Everyone else could turn into other animals. I don't remember the
Yeah,
reason
but once
why.
you can turn into a hawk, do you need to turn
yeah,
into
and
another
your
animal?
name's Tobias,
Who's
which
gonna
means you're
screw
either
you?
fucking super cool or super not cool.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
I've
no
only-
in between with Tobias.
The only characters I know are that were named Tobias. Actually, there's only one. It's the guy from Arrested Development, and he was the lamest character.
Well, okay, there
but
you go.
the funniest as well.
Yeah.
He blew himself.
I have a funny story about Goosebumps. I'm going to tell you. I was a little too old for Goosebumps. I mean, like, they were coming out, but I was, like, kind of, like, 11, 12, 13. I mean, I was reading, real person books at that point. But my dad had this thing that I agreed with him on one summer where if I could just read, like, he would pay me for every book I read. And I was reading, like, I was reading, like, Kurt Vonnegut and all this weird shit, but I was like, what if I just went to the library and just rented, like, as many Goosebumps as possible and just read all of those, and I would read, like, a Goosebumps in, like, a
15
couple
minutes.
hours,
Yeah.
and then you'd be done with it or whatever. And I'd start. We had a little tab, we're keeping a tablature on the fridge. So that's my Goosebumps story. The thing that gives me goosebumps, small G goosebumps, two things came to mind for me. One is a rock concert, but specifically the opening of a rock concert.
Oh yeah.
Concerts, rock concerts, all sorts of concerts. There's a science to it. There's science to getting people hyped up, and it involves lights and it involves sound, obviously, but it involves dropping the house lights and it involves ambient noises. A lot of bands have like intros that they come out to or
Yeah.
whatever. I think of specifically a few acts that I've seen. 311's a great example. With it, they do these like it sounds like a spaceship landing kind of. So it's like all these like alien, and the bass is just like like for like a minute,
Yeah.
and it's just like landing, and the lights are all weird, and then like it's all dark, and then the lights come on, and they're already on stage, like they had already walked out there or whatever, and begin playing. And I like the opening of a concert, get goosebumps, anticipate the first song they're going to play. What is the first song they're going to play? Because I'm obsessed with set lists and kind of all that kind of stuff. Things that you put in the encore, things you put at the end, in the middle. And I think an opening track is very, very important to a concert. And for 311, there's really only like 10 that they'll play in the beginning. So it's always fun to figure out which one they're going to play. The other thing that came to mind that gives me goosebumps when I go to Jets games, and I've talked about this before. I want to see if I can find it. The Jets chant is the greatest. I think really one of the great chants in sports.
Does it sound like Jets?
Yeah, Jets.
Jets.
Here, I'll show you. I think yeah.
You
so I
missed
have,
me, didn't you, Gavin? It's
So
gone
I
for
have
2
it.
days.
I have it on my phone from one of the games I went to, and I'll see if this comes through.
All right.
That always gives me goosebumps as well. And of course, the siren of the sounds like there's like a nuclear fallout.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Sports give me live sports, and the action of live sports gives me goosebumps as well. And I love a great goal in hockey or a key catch in football, or whatever, a first down that you really needed or whatever. But that chant, that Jets chant, because you anticipate it, because there's rules of when it's used, and it's it's organic. But there was one person conducting it, and everyone would pay attention to that one person in the in a stadium full of 80,000 people. I think that's fun and exciting stuff. So I would say live concerts, sporting events.
Yeah.
The traditions of those, I think, are goosebumps.
Entrances, like going to like wrestling and stuff, those are they're designed to give you goosebumps and chills.
Right.
Like whenever you hear the Stone Cold glass breaking or like The Rock, and you just hear the "if you smell," it's like, oh my god, that's just instant goosebumps. But yeah, that's the closest thing I have to that sports thing. But with the concerts and stuff, I mean, with Kind of Funny Live, I completely try to design our intro around that, like copying what I've seen other people do. And it's like now whenever I watch it, just watching that intro, I get so much chills.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so fucking
intro.
douchey of me.
Hell
But
of
it's
an
like,
intro. No, it's not douchey.
but the thing is, there is a science to it. It is just like, what would people want? Like, how do you do that nice fucking build up? And
Sure, I mean, but from that,
man.
I would argue it's not necessarily that there's a science to it. It's that you're leading from a place of passion and heart and fun, and you're like, I want to make this as fun and like fanfare as humanly possible for the people that engage with our content, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know that people out there who have watched us since like episode 1 are what they're gonna want, and there's a certain fun aspect of like giving them that, and like dangling it, and I think that's for me a lot of oftentimes where I kind of gravitate to is the things that give me goosebumps more are either key scenes in movies or actually movie trailers. Specifically, I think I saw, what was I watching? I think I went and saw NWA, and I was watching it, and that doesn't sound right.
Straight Outta Compton.
No, it was Ant-Man, excuse me. Yeah, let me show you. I did see Straight Outta Compton, not NWA, excuse me. But I went and saw Ant-Man, and I saw the Star Wars The Force Awakens trailer.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I had seen the trailer. And this is kind of telling, too. It's the first time I'd seen that trailer in the movie theater where I was like, oh, wait, this is where they're supposed to go before other movies that you're watching. And then I was like, oh, wait, why is Star Wars playing behind a Marvel? And then I was like, oh, wait, everything, Disney owns everything now, including me. They bought me yesterday.
Congrats.
$60. Pretty good deal.
They're making all sorts of acquisitions.
But seeing that one moment in that trailer where it's like, the music kind of hits and you see the X-Wings kind of plow across the water and you see Oscar Isaac. He's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, man. It literally gave me physical goosebumps. I'm like, whoa. I'm gonna sit in the theater in December and see this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see this movie.
You mentioned episode 1 recently or earlier, and you're talking about this show, but in Star Wars episode 1, Duel of the Fates, just Darth Maul coming out. I don't give a shit about the quality of those movies. That is fucking just like, oh my God.
No,
just thinking about it gives me
that's
chills.
the saddest part about all those movies is that scene was awesome. That fight scene was dope. Arguably one of the best fight scenes in any of the Star Wars properties. It just sucks that it was bookended by the rest of it.
By straight up flaming trash heaps. No, I agree with you. I actually think about episode 1, just even the way episode 1 began, I really liked, and that I remember seeing that scroll, the scroll, and the way they begin, and with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon in the beginning, like running around. I'm like, for 10 minutes it was fine, and I was like, I was really so excited. You see the protocol droid for the first time. They go into that room. I'm like, I was in 9th grade,
and then
horribly
racist Trade Federation people. You're
New
like,
Gunray.
wow, because what was sad about it is they're like, you didn't even cast a Chinese guy to do that role. You just cast a white dude who's doing his worst Chinese impression. That makes it even more.
It really
racist.
was weird, wasn't it? In hindsight, the whole.
I wonder
really
what the direction
terrible.
was. The direction on that just like sound foreign, and it was like whatever the guy thought foreign sounded
Well,
like.
if you're gonna do that, it's like I get that you have to go. You have to sort of dive in and have your characterizations and figure out kind of who these are and how you're gonna relate an alien to people's modern day idea of a certain ethnicity or whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, why couldn't you just have hired like a Chinese? Maybe a Chinese guy did do it, but it really didn't sound that way. Like if you're gonna model them after like a Japanese culture, you get Ken Watanabe to do that. That's cool. It's like Ken Watanabe. He's clearly Japanese. He has a Japanese accent. All that stuff. Not crazy. It's not overly done. It's very tasteful. But that was. I mean, I didn't want to do it. I desperately want to say one of the lines right now, but it's such a bad idea because if I were to even just play that right now, just play it out of context,
playing a man playing Newt Gunray.
What the fuck was that, right?
Yeah.
So there's that, but getting back to the original topic, like it's true. I still see scenes in movies, or I still watch the Man of Steel trailer every once in a while, and like the second you hear that Hans Zimmer score with that voiceover from Russell Crowe, and I just get like the world's just gone, and I'm in that moment, and it's so freaking cool. And there was actually that's the same thing with like the 300 trailer. Did you ever see that one?
Oh my God, I mean that's perfect trailer.
That trailer with 9 Inch Nails, that badass 9 Inch Nails track behind it, and you're like, dude, he nailed it.
Yeah,
and the movie was pretty good too.
Yeah, but I thought not the trailer. The trailer so good.
That's got to be top.
I mean, even then,
5 trailers ever made.
So when I went to see Ant-Man, we did see the Star Wars trailer. We also saw Batman vs. Superman. And it's just like these trailers. The trailers are another thing designed to make you feel those moments of like, oh my God.
A good trailer.
Yeah.
A good trailer does that. And I would still say, like, everyone always talks about how Zack Snyder only makes good trailers, and I disagree. I think he makes good films too. But his trailers his movies have so many cool shots in them that they are visually perfect for trailers.
Yeah.
And you combine that with an amazing score
and that's what
and great pacing, and boom, you get that quick. It's almost like a quick, like a cheap drug. Just that quick hit of emotion, and then you're out.
Yeah.
And it gets you wanting more. You're like, I want more, man. I want that real good smack. I want that 2 hours, 4 minutes smack.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Speaking of that,
what does that mean?
So moving on to video games, I feel like there's so many game audio cues and like random things that give me chills. But press conferences, oh man,
Oh, yeah.
I get so many chills from that. And again, it's the trailers.
Yeah,
It's like
it's all those. It's
all
that
the
builds up to
same
that
shit.
wow moment,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah. I mean, I will tell you this. Since I'm impervious to anything gaming, it didn't affect me. But when I looked over and saw Colin's face this past E3 during the
Sony conference.
was it the Sony conference? Something big dropped. Or maybe it was Final Fantasy. When you guys saw Final Fantasy, you were just a kid in a candy store.
I couldn't believe it's like Final Fantasy VII is not like one of my most beloved games. I like the game a lot, but I was more excited that like, wow, it's really happening. They're really going to do it. You know, it was a really big. Most press conferences are a little weird to us because we don't know some of the secrets, but we do know some of the things that are going to happen just through
back channels.
Yeah, and like you just hear certain things that are going to happen, but. Most things are a surprise, and so it is in an industry that we know very well and that we have great connections in, where we're not often surprised by things, or not as I don't want to say often, but not surprised as much as say the general consumer. It was cool to have something like that somehow there was not even a scant rumor about, like nothing, and
up until like the days leading into
right,
E3.
exactly. Like this
And
wasn't.
then it was unbelievable. It was one of those things where it's like, all right, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
And it
Like,
happened. It's like shut the
when
fuck
the
It's one of those where you're like, I don't want to even say. I don't want to be that asshole. It's like it's totally going to happen, and then it doesn't
Yeah.
happen. You got egg on your face.
Yeah, I mean, the chatter began, in the days leading up or whatever. But usually, there's indications. There's a trademark filing. There's someone who quit and put it on his LinkedIn, profile, but nothing like that happened. So it was cool to not anticipate, that was necessarily going to happen. Because even when the rumors came, I was like,
Who knows?
who knows what's going to happen. So that's the great unknown with press conferences, especially for us, being able to hear some things every once in a while that might ruin big surprises for us, for other people. It's cool to have that. I don't want to bring it to a negative space, but I'd be loath to not to talk about the bad kind of chills and the bad kind of goosebumps.
Sure.
The one thing I remember in terms of goosebumps getting like chills was I went to my father's best friend died in 9/11, and I went to his funeral. My dad was like a pallbearer and stuff like that. And then at FDNY funerals, they play bagpipes, and it's like really somber and weird and sad. And I remember very clearly being in New York City for this funeral, and the bagpipes stopping when we're all in the street, like the procession or whatever, and it was just totally quiet. And I was like, it's so weird to be here in this place, and there's just no sound at all. There was nothing. Like I don't know like how it was possible that no sound was happening, but it was just totally dead silent. And that was one of my for like 10 seconds. Like, well, nothing was happening, no one was moving or anything like that. And I was like, this
crazy.
is really, really a somber and important moment, but also it gave me chills. It was like really goosebump worthy. And it was a very sad day, but I was like, wow, that's an incredible and a memorable moment for me as well. So that was, that's just as worthy of a goosebump moment for me as, the opening of a concert. I mean, just you're getting them for different reasons from different things.
Yeah, I don't know if I can pinpoint chills in a sad moment. Like, I don't know if I ever get that feeling. I got a like feeling in my stomach, like a pit feeling, but like I don't think chills or something that happens to me in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I remember just being like really shocked, and I mean, it's it's chilling. I mean, chills are chill. I mean, chills. I understand what you're saying. Chills, I think, are supposed to be negative.
Yeah,
maybe the goosebumps are like the positive connotation of the same feeling. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, that was what stuck out to me too, and when I'm kind of going through my mind thinking about some of these things.
One that's not media related is, and this is such a Tim answer, but a cold can of Coke on a hot day.
On a hot
Oh
day.
my God. It's just like you just drink it. There's just this moment of, it doesn't happen every time. It's just every once in a while. And you're just like, oh.
When it's
baby.
the right can
Yeah.
at the right time.
So
the right
good.
can at the right time.
And Disneyland in general. Like, Disneyland
did you
is
see
another
that-
thing.
the Star Wars
designed-
news?
Oh, yeah. We talked about it a lot yesterday.
Oh my
On
God.
Colin Greg Live.
I can't even believe it.
yeah,
that actually gave me goosebumps reading that and like just imagining what that's going to be like. Like, you're going to go to Disneyland and there will be just a Star Wars land. Is awesome. That was cool. What actually gave me goosebumps was seeing
Hyperspace Mountain be announced.
no,
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Because that's going to
awesome.
be a thing next year.
Hilarious. No, they did a one-off poster that you can't get anywhere. It's by Drew Struzan, the guy that did a lot of the original artwork posters.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No.
Yeah.
We did see it. Yeah. We did see it. Yeah.
That was cool because I'm like, I know they're going to get him to do something. They have to. Like, he's one of the most iconic like artists of the 80s and 90s, and he did all that. He did a lot of the special edition covers. And I can't remember if he actually did the original Star Wars covers or not, but he redrew another one, and seeing John Boyega with like his character Finn with that lightsaber, you're like, what is happening? Why are there so many cool things happening in this? And there's like the X-wings, and there's the what do they call the water thing on Tatooine, the vaporizers? No,
moisture farms.
Moisture farms, yeah. So you saw some of that stuff, and then you saw the lights from Cloud City in it. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, like it's when there's like a little track of lights that look exactly like the ones where he's fighting him in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
So like the little like.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't notice that.
I think it might be Cloud City. It might actually be the Emperor's Chamber now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, it's like all those little elements. I'm like, and then just seeing the composition of it and seeing like.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
School.
It threw me off a little bit, especially having Han down there. But
he's like, and mostly because at this point you don't know if he's Han Solo or if he's just having a senior moment and he's not quite sure where he's at. You know what I mean? It's like Han, don't pull that trigger. You're just at a Denny's, homie. You know what I mean? He's just trying to give you the moon over my hammy. Colin's not impressed by this cover. I can tell. I can feel his stare. He's like, "Don't make fun of Han Solo in front of my presence."
No, I do think that poster would have been fine without Han Solo, like without anything there in that space, that negative space. Just the three of them would have been good, and concentrate on the new characters. I mean, it's fun to have a throwback, but what I'm starting to, we talked about it before. What I'm starting to fear with Star Wars is two things. This is a tangent based on this particular topic, but one, that there's way too much going on now with Star Wars. I'm getting scared that the more they do, the more they're going to fuck it up. And number two is that, you know, we don't necessarily need these touchstones of these old characters per se. It's exciting that they're there, but I wish that they would treat them in a little bit more of a secondary fashion, because ultimately it's not their story. It's ultimately it's going to be the story of these new characters and how they relate to Luke and Han and Leia and all these Chewie and hopefully Lando and stuff like that in the future. But yeah, I don't know. I'm getting a little nervous. I'm starting to get nervous about what happens if Episode 7 is not good too. That's the other thing I'm starting to think about. And I actually have complete faith in it, but I also had complete faith in Episode 1. And Episode 1, you know, there's a lot of hindsight, a lot of revisionist history about that as well. Episode 1's trailers gave very little indication that the movie was going to be really bad. So there's a few things to keep in mind there, you know, moving forward that are, let's call the anti-goosebump.
I will say this. I feel what you're saying, because I can't remember. Maybe it was like a week ago. They released the official cast photo for Rogue One. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is dope. Like, these are a bunch of people that I'm familiar with a lot of the actors, but not. I wouldn't be able to pinpoint some of them, but like I know that guy's name. Like I think Mads Mikkelsen. What's the guy that played the chief in the first Casino Royale?
That is him.
I think he's in it. He plays Hannibal also. I think he's in it. And then the guy, the Japanese guy from Predators is in it. But I'm like, that's cool. Like, I don't really know who these people are. And if they are, they're not.
There's that guy?
Yeah, they're not breakout stars. So I'm like, great, because guess what? I don't need like Brad Pitt to be in a Star Wars film. In fact, I think that's counterproductive to what they're going for. Like, cast a bunch of people that are just really good actors.
I mean, so far we're seeing that in.
Yeah, I know.
7.
That's great. But I mean, and to Colin's point, that's great, because we don't necessarily need Harrison Ford to continue on the legacy of the series. But yeah, I mean, I saw that photo and I was like, that's cool. But that was my first reaction to it. Was like, that's cool. Not, oh my God, that's awesome, a new Star Wars movie. So I think we're already starting to feel a little bit of that fatigue. Maybe.
I'm not worried.
You're not worried?
No.
I'm not actively worried, but I am morbidly curious. Like if Episode 7's okay,
it'll be okay.
That's gonna be. I mean, I think it's gonna. I have faith that it's gonna be great, but
it'll be good.
But you have to, like, in my opinion, I love A New Hope, but I like Empire. Obviously, Empire is like one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think Jedi is even better than A New Hope too. And I know and that's a little controversial, because usually people go Empire, A New Hope, and then Jedi. But what I'm saying is, this is setting up the trilogy, so I don't have like expectations of it being Empire-like. When I went into Attack of the Clones, my expectation was that I was like, all right, Episode 1 was pretty bad. This is the equivalent of Empire, so this has to be really good, and it was fucking awful. So it was just an abomination. It was atrocious.
But that was the one where the Queen was elected, right? Where she was like, I'm Queen. I'm elected by a bunch of people. I was like, why do they call you Queen then? Why not President? Remember that? She has a line where she's like, I'm the Queen. I'm duly elected.
Well, she was a senator.
She was a senator, but on Naboo, she said something about being a queen, and then also that she was an elected official there as well. And I was like, huh? I could be getting that wrong.
I don't fucking know.
Who cares?
But it's one of those things where I'm like,
it never even happened in my mind.
It never, yeah.
It was like a fever.
It
The
was just a fantasy.
prequels were a fever dream.
The thing about that is like, and here you need to manage your expectations right now. It's not going to blow anyone away. It'll be a good movie, but I think knowing J.J. Abrams, like looking at his history, the best he can do and the best that we can expect is what he did with Star Trek, which he was able to reboot that series and get it going again. And to me, I was like, that was a great reboot, but it's always, I mean, I walked into the office and half people were like, that was awesome. The other half were like, that was dumb. Why did he screw up Star Trek? And it's like, Star Trek is, I would stagger to say, maybe a little less popular than Star Wars.
Yeah, just a little.
Depending on who you're talking to. I mean, no, if you talk to people who are too heavy into Star Trek.
Oh, give me a break though. I mean, Star Trek is like not even on the same
in
level.
Terms of popularity,
popularity, and in terms of I think quality too. That was the thing that always.
It's hard though, because think about this though. Star Trek has been on since the late. What?
Yeah, but
when
how
the
much?
hell is the
the
show?
50s.
How much money has
Was it
Star
50s?
Trek
I think it
made?
was
early
60s.
How much money has Star Wars made?
Star Trek's made a ton of money. I mean, think
Yeah,
about
but
the
has it made
shows.
Star Wars money? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, Disney doesn't own it, so maybe
Yeah.
not. Disney only buys baller stuff.
yeah.
So, but that's what I'm saying is you look at that series, right, which is another beloved sci-fi series that needed a reboot, and he did, I think, the best you can possibly do with that. So that's kind of the benchmark, I think. That is sort of like that'll be the example of what you can do. That's probably as good as it's going to get with Star Wars. I just want to, man, I'm setting my expectations mid-tier.
I think it's going to be slightly better than that.
You think so?
Because there is the fact of him,
Star Trek doesn't have lightsabers.
him wanting to fix what the prequels fucked up. Like those happened, you know. So he's going with Star Trek. It's like all he had to do was not all he had to do. Obviously, it was a huge. What he did was make people that didn't give a shit about Star Trek care about Star Trek. So he did something really important. People care about Star Wars. What he has to do with this one is even harder, though. It has to get people that are upset with Star Wars to come back.
That's
So,
easier though.
I
feel like because I feel like Star Wars is like our relationship with Star Wars is like codependency, right? Where no matter how badly it treats us, we still want it to be like want it to love us. We want to love it, but these last three we're just like it's a bad relationship right now, but we're still in it to win it. Whereas like all he has to do is make a good film, and everyone will be back on board.
Well, that's what I'm saying is I feel like he's going to overcompensate by giving us all the things that we actually want, which is going to be good. So I think that it will be slightly better than the Star Trek. But I'm hoping.
We'll see. I'm hoping so too.
Yeah, I mean, I have every hope in the world. My one disappointment, obviously, with this whole thing is that I wish that they just had the balls to say like the prequels didn't happen. And
I would love them to remake them.
Yeah,
that's the
thing.
next three, do the next, and then the 3 one-off movies, or what do they call them? Not one-offs. They're like side canon movies or side universe.
like interstitial kind of thing.
Yeah,
anthology.
So give me the Rogue One, give me the Boba Fett and the Han Solo films. Yeah. Great. That takes us up to, based on their pace, right now that takes us up to the year 2016. So that's 2020, and then for the love of God, bring whatever the next talented young director is.
Bring in Square Enix, and they'll have episode 1, 2, episode 2, 2,
right?
Episode 3, Duske.
Episode 7 will be everyone's least favorite.
I hate you so much.
Episode 11 will be the one that Tim likes most.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, for Christ's sake, bring in J.J. Abrams again and let him direct episode 1. And let's see where that goes.
That was the only confusing move as we wrap this topic up is they went in and they very deliberately, after a lot of thought, said like these things happened and these things didn't, right? And they pointed to a lot of the books with a few exceptions, and the games were like none of this happened. And the disappointing thing about that was that the books were really good, and they talked about things that happened afterwards, and it all made sense. And there were characters that people loved, like Mara Jade and Grand Admiral Thrawn, and all these characters that people really liked. And so that was a weird decision where I would have been like, you should have just gone backwards, like leave everything that happened, like the second Death Star exploding should have maybe been the end, and then you go back, and you fix what's actually fucked up, which were the prequels. And then you tell little stories like Rogue One and Han Solo story. You can tell all those stories, but maybe it would have been smarter. I mean, and this is just total conjecture and whatever, just me, chatting. But maybe episode 7 and after that never needed to happen at all. Maybe the thing is like the second that it's over. The Empire's done. It's over. But what was fucked up about about Star Wars before that? What was the fucking prequels?
This is so much more interesting. I'm so happy that what's happening is happening.
I don't know. I think it would have been more interesting for them to say like we're extinguishing the prequels. Like one way or the other, like they didn't happen.
Yeah.
But what's amazing is everyone. This is why I get so, I'm not angry, but I get a little miffed when people are like, no, there's no way they could do that. That's canon. But they do it all the time with Marvel. Fox is doing it over and over again.
With X-Men.
Sony's doing it over and over again. With all these series, right? They're going back and they're just redoing these for the sake of fandom, and also just for the fact that there wasn't a lot there.
Yeah.
So why can't Disney do it with Star Wars? Why can't they be like, you know what? We're gonna go back and redo it. I don't understand. We do it with Batman. There's a new damn Batman movie every 3 years now, so that's awesome. Why can't they have Fantastic Four? They're just gonna keep making those until one of them hits. So why can't they do it with Star Wars?
Yeah.
I don't know.